Welcome to A State of Mind, the podcast that brings together consciousness, meditation, mindfulness, psychology, psychedelics, and so much more in pursuit of this mystery we call life. This is Julian Royce. All right, so I'm here today with John Paul. Thank you for being on the podcast.
You're welcome, man. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for inviting me in.
Yeah, and it's great to have you back for round two. And I'll create an intro before this, but do you just want to share with people listening about yourself, what you're offering these days?
Yeah, man. I'm a men's vitality and embodiment coach and have been working a lot with, of course, sexual energy and sexual transmutation, like we talked about last time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, over these last many months, and the last year, I've been going a lot deeper into the shadows, into the webs of what may be holding men back from accessing deeper levels of sensation and feeling. Because, with the tools, the technologies of the Taoist sexual alchemy or sexual kung fu that we talked a lot about last time, I'm remembering for myself that I also need to couple it with that deeper connection with soul, with like the emotional layers and where the trauma stems from, and where maybe I've been not allowing myself to feel, so that when I open up into the feeling space, I can actually move more energy in my body. And I'm finding that is really, really vital and important for most men. And so, coupling and combining those with a lot of my men on my one-on-one work, and also in like group spaces as well.
Love that. Yeah. Yeah. And we can get into some of these topics around masculinity and all that, but I really appreciate the vitality piece, the life energy piece. And that's something that I really try to encourage with everyone I work with, and checking in about things like sleep, diet, nutrition, exercise, your relationships. But I think you're naming something really important. You could attend to a lot of those things, maybe all those things, and be cut off from your feeling. And feelings have so much energy, so much life force. That's where inspiration is. That's where real intimacy is created. That's where kind of the juice of life can live and bubble up. And to not shy away from those feelings, I think is so important. And I think for a lot of people, the whole realm of feelings tends to be more in the category of the feminine. And the masculine, to use that language, which I think is important language to use and claim and reclaim, can be more about the spacious awareness, the witnessing, the observer. But when we're using masculine and feminine in that context, all human beings have both.
Absolutely.
And so it's not really a man versus woman thing at all. And so I want to reclaim that for men. And that's a big part of the healing work for men. We are sensitive, feeling creatures that in no way detracts from our masculinity. Right? That's where I'm coming from. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the emotional realm is often coupled with the feminine, but it's not feminine or masculine. It's human. Mm-hmm. It's consciousness. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there is a delineation or like a layer. It's like, women, the feminine energy has maybe more accessibility to the emotions. And it's often, I think, from the internal world that women learn from. Mm-hmm. Like, especially in this realm of sex, right? Mm-hmm. Us men, we often learn about our world through the external layer of like the lingam, the penis. It's outside of us. Mm-hmm. The feminine, the women, they learn about themselves through pleasure internally. And it's like more exploratory. It's deeper within themselves. And so I think women can have there's more of a proclivity to go within, where us men are much more externally aware. But at the end of the day, we need both. Yeah. We both need to learn how to merge these things together.
Yeah. It's such a rich topic. And I'm thinking about, I think a lot of it is conditioning and how we grow up and the culture we're in. And I want to speak to, like, there is value in being able to put your emotions to the side at certain times.
Absolutely.
And to be a strong leader. And we kind of know that intuitively, even if we don't name it. Even people, I think, in the healing, psychology, spiritual world, it's like, if we were literally under attack, or if we're in an actual physical battle, yeah, let's put the feelings to the side
Right.
and figure out what we need to do and be on top of that. And I think, we see that politically, like we want that our leaders have those qualities. But ideally, as a human, we can be integrated and have both, and not be taken over by our emotions, but honor them and be able to listen to them and be in our feeling body. And so many men have been conditioned to maybe be that strong leader or be that athlete or show up for business. And over time, the cost of putting that to the side is huge. It's called repression, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but part of the way I work with that when someone comes to see me is honoring the intelligence behind that ability to put something to the side for a period of time. That's actually an intelligent capacity we need to have in ourselves. And when we're healing trauma, we want to be able to like be with that really difficult stuff and then also be able to put it to the side. So we're not getting flooded or overwhelmed or overtaken by it. That's part of the definition of healing trauma, actually. So,
yeah. And especially like in intimacy spaces and in sex, for men, we're learned to just like penetrate and just like constantly be in this like external world thing outside of ourselves. And often what the feminine craves is the intimacy, it's the connection. And when we can be in those spaces and like actually feel and be present with the feelings and slow down, I think that's where that emotional world can come back into play. Not to like pour out our emotions in that moment, but to like really be with the subtleties of what's happening in that moment to moment basis, rather than being in the mind and trying to create or perform, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a big point. I think the difference between performing and being authentic. And I think for me, it's not just, it's human, like that we want to be our authentic selves. I think especially for men to be able to not be in the performing kind of mindset all the time, especially when we're with our partner, when we're with loved ones and we're with good friends, right? Because if you're performing, there's a barrier between you and I guess whoever you're performing for, whoever that is.
Yeah, there definitely can be, unless that's like what's invited into the dynamic.
Right. Yeah, it could be a very authentic performance for sure, but to be able to not stay stuck there.
Yeah.
But I think you're making some really good points around this. I love this question of, we hear a lot about toxic masculinity. So I've been really meditating on sacred masculinity. And that was part of what we talked about the first time. But I think my understanding of that is just continues to deepen. I think we need like a vision that we're moving towards. At least I do. That's how I operate. And it's not about trying to be perfect all the time, but it's about having grounded confidence that whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever your biology is, like we can work with that and we can have a path to like that full embodied expression and trust that inner intelligence and not feel like there's something wrong with us.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it goes back to like the inner essence of who we are, which is often conditioned and traumatized as we grow older. And the inner essence is like the joy. It's like the purity of our soul and our authenticity that you were talking about. And oftentimes so many things get in the way of that, our upbringing, society, again, the pain, the trauma that we experience. And so we create these protective layers so that we can fit in, so that we can survive. And when we can get underneath those layers and remember who we are from the core, then we can start to bring in more of that joy, more of that authenticity, more of that purity of self, and lead from that space of like the soul of our truth.
I love that. Yeah. It can be, I imagine it can be so helpful to work with someone to help you get there and get in touch with that. And
it's hard to do it on our own.
Hard to do on our own. Yeah. I don't think we're meant to. It's taken me a long time to realize that. We're meant to be in community and connection, have mentors, have teachers, have leaders. Like I'm working as a therapist and a coach, but then I'm also getting coaching and therapy. Like I'm offering online groups, but then I'm also in online groups. It's like this mutually, it's like a virtuous cycle. It's like feeding itself.
Yeah.
And I'm really leaning into that, especially looking at 2026. It's like, how can I invest in myself so that I can give more and like not shy away from that?
Yeah. I was just at a Sacred Sons event
nice.
A couple weeks ago in San Diego. And group healing, group therapy, or group training. I like to call it group training because it's not really therapy, but we're doing very therapeutic things. When one man heals, another man heals. Like when I get to witness another man go through his process, there's like things happening in me that start to open up. And when I'm witnessed in a space of 20 guys and I'm going through this deep process and just shedding so much grief and tears and allowing myself to meet these deeper parts of myself, I'm able to get to the layer, another layer deeper. That being said, I think there is a lot of validity in learning tools for like a daily practice.
Yes.
Like having a daily training routine, a daily meditation, a daily like self-guided inquiry space where I can go in and be like, oh, I'm connecting with this part of myself, or I'm connecting with this feeling. Because we can go into those spaces, those group healing, or we can have a coach, but maybe that person relies on it.
Right.
And when we can have both, where we're learning to like be with ourselves, then when we go to our coach or our therapist or the group training session, we can go even deeper because we have the faculties to allow ourselves.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, I've really been learning how important it is. Like we got to do our own work. Yeah. Like, there's so much truth and wisdom in taking responsibility for yourself, your actions, your choices, where you want to go in life, what you want to be creating, what you want to be cultivating. And if we think we're just going to go to a therapist, or even worse, we think I'm just going to take this pill and it's going to fix me.
All right.
Like that doesn't work. And I think we all know that on some level, but it's worth saying again, because our culture is kind of geared toward these quick, easy fixes.
Yeah.
And it's geared towards finding a solution to everything with money. And I've really been tracking some people I work with. I'll feel drained and it's tough. And I can do that for a while, but other people I work with, it feels inspiring and energizing. And we might work through some really tough shit, but at the end of it, I'm like, man, like they're showing up, and it's that quality of someone showing up. And I can't give that to someone, but I can start to be more discerning about what I'm investing in, because there's a cost to feeling drained all the time. And I think you're speaking, it's like a both and. It's like you've got to be doing your own work and you need to have support and a support network around you. And it's a both and.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're tribal beings.
Yeah.
We're meant to be in community. We're meant to be in smaller groups of humans, to share our grief, to share our sadness, to share our joy.
Yes. Be witnessed, to be seen.
Yeah. Daniel Eisenman, he shared this phrase with me years ago. One sorrow shared is a sorrow halved, and a joy shared is a joy doubled.
I love that.
So when we share it with other people, we can either cut it in half or we can expand it. We can amplify it. So there's something powerful in being witnessed. And in order to be witnessed, we also need to learn how to like access these feelings within ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And a big part of what makes something traumatic is shame and guilt, and often keeping it secret or keeping it to yourself, or feeling like it's all up to you. And so when you can really feel on a deep level that you're not alone. And whatever you're going through, other people have gone through something very similar, most likely. I mean, there's 9 billion people on this planet. Yeah. Been on this planet for at least 1 million years, anatomically humans. So whatever we're experiencing, like you're not alone in that. And other people have been down there, and to lean on that and draw from that. And yeah, I really appreciate what you just shared. Another thing I really appreciate about you is you go right into sexuality for men. And it's such a sensitive topic. It's pretty taboo. It's just not talked about that often. It's certainly not talked about in the conscious way that you talk about it, and then giving people real tools and practices. And then what I'm sensing from you and what you're sharing online, what you're sharing today, it's like you are also doing this deeper emotional work, and they go together and support each other. So I just wanted to appreciate that.
Thanks, man. Thanks for seeing me. Yeah, it's a taboo topic that often gets pushed aside, or we don't want to talk about as a society. But if we keep pushing those things down, it's just going to fester. It's just going to grow like a wild bush. And and then it starts to express itself in unconscious or unintegrated ways.
Right. Yeah. There's so many topics we could go into, but do you want to share just briefly, if someone's listening to this and maybe they want to create a daily practice for themselves, like what kind of elements would you want to include? Maybe specifically talking about men,
Man, lately, I mean, I'll speak for myself. What I've been doing a lot lately, and that's waking up and getting right in front of a red light, or getting
Oh yeah.
sunlight
Mhm.
on my body.
I've been doing that too.
If it's a little cold, or if it's before the sun is up, I'll put the red light down on the ground. I just keep it on the ground, and I am just naked, and I just let the red light soak up into my lower half, my genitals, and then I drop into a little breath work. I'll light a candle and sage the space a little bit, but then go into some meditation. And
Okay.
lately, it's been like this self inquiry practice where I'm going inward, and I'm doing some somatic experiencing where I'm just like feeling into myself. Now, this might feel like it's a little too much for somebody who's just getting started, but I think a simple way is just sit down and track your breath. Track the breath at the beginning. Don't even look at your phone. Just be with yourself to start the day, and maybe start with some gratitude. And then from there, get into the body, get into some movement, whether that's taking a walk, or I share with all of my clients what's called the Core 4, daily Core 4, which involves like a minute or two of shaking, some tapping, some like acu-tapping, maybe some sounds just to kind of let out some emotions through like the Taoist lens of the 6 healing sounds. Get into the spine a little bit, open and close the spine. And then I always like to end with a little testicle breathing. So I'm just connecting with my testicles, and maybe even starting to just massage the testicles, and just waking up that juicy vitality, and starting to allow it to pump up into the system. So it's not just getting stuck or stagnant in the genitals, and it allows the energy to start to rise and bubble up throughout the system. So we have more of a battery bank of energy, sexual vitality, because I'm sure, like we talked about last time, sexual energy has the ability to create energy. It has the ability to amplify. And yeah, that's like a nice little practice. And then from there, go into the day.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. There's a lot of tidbits someone could take away. And I've been definitely doing the sunlight in the morning, and some movement and stretching. And again, appreciating how you're speaking right to the sexuality piece as a core of our life vitality, whether you are, I don't know, married or dating, or whether you're single or practicing celibacy for a while. Like, you can still, I believe it's great to connect with that. It's important to
Absolutely
connect with it. And
it's just like our thumb. It's just it's something that we have with us, that we use all the time.
Right.
And it's just another body part, but it's often coupled with more of this erotic energy, or this, sex, right? It's like penetration. But at the end of the day, it needs to be treated as if it's really a part of us, not just this thing that we use for this one moment, just to get off. It's something that actually has a lot of wisdom. The testicles, the penis, they're connected to our organs and our glandular system. And I made a video about the 4 attainments, which is the qualities of like a healthy erection. And it's long, hard, swollen, and hot. And so if somebody has all 4 of those qualities, that's often a sign of good health. And so ensuring that our penis can be a nice erect penis is a sign that things are going well. Now, if one of those attainments, long, hard, swollen, or hot, are off, or all 4 of them are off when we're stimulated or wanting to be aroused, that is a sign that maybe the kidneys are imbalanced. The kidneys are associated with the bones. So the bones would be more of like the hard quality. So if the penis isn't getting fully hard, that is often a sign that there's kidney dysfunction.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so when we take a look at through this lens of like, oh, wow, there's so much wisdom in our genitals that's actually speaking to our body, then we realize, I believe we can realize that it's speaking to us. Yeah. And it's not just for the penetrative act of sex.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a few things I'm getting from you. Or one, normalizing. It's a part of our body.
Totally.
2, it doesn't always have to be connected with sexuality or sexual energy or making out or having sex with someone.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how much health issues and also emotional, psychological issues kind of stem from just neglecting this, or pigeonholing it, or putting it in this place that's only for sex, And
well, we have prostate cancer is one of the highest forms of cancer in
Right.
men.
Right.
And oftentimes my belief system and what my master Chia, Montauk Chia, speaks upon is that it's because the prostate's not being stimulated properly, or it's being overstimulated, ejaculating too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can allow ourselves to like be connected with our body, with our prostate, and like massage the prostate, whether that's internally or just on the outside from like underneath the perineum,
Right.
or pumping the prostate, like we can just squeeze, we can do pelvic floor pulses right now, right? Like the Kegels, or we're just squeezing the perineum, and that alone starts to activate the prostate gland. And so it's a sign of health if we can keep our body right. If like if we're not having prostate troubles, that's a sign that we have good sexual health.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be associated just with the act of sex.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think it's really great to hear. And the other day I listened to I made it through like all 2 hours of a Joe Rogan podcast. I can't remember the name of his guest, but he's like a health wellness expert. And at some point he was asked, like, what is your definition of health? Like, it means so many different things. And he said something like having the focus and energy, to do the things you need to do and want to do. And, all the normal things we think about health, like our body's working, and having a strong libido. And so there's a Western trained, doctor who's connecting with what Ayurveda, what Taoism, Chinese traditional medicine, that our libido is an integral part of our life energy, our life force.
Yeah, they're not separated.
Right.
Which a lot of Western worlds compartmentalize our body and our health and just localize it. Oh, you have adrenal fatigue, so let's just do adrenal surgery or whatever it may be. And it's like, well, what's causing it? Because it's all connected. The body is so connected and so interwoven that it's not just about cutting things out and giving a pill for the thing. It's if we can look at it from a total system, and fill up the energy reservoirs, which arguably start with sexual energy, and we can pump that into our organs, our glands, our tissues. Then we start to create more spaciousness in the body for libido, more of this surface area for libido to travel and move freely. Yeah,
I felt so much value in myself doing that, paying attention to that. I was talking to my partner last night, and I was telling her about some of the practices we did together and what we talked about in the first podcast.
Yeah.
And I was talking about the practice of like tapping your balls, kind of slapping your balls.
Yeah.
And she was like, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll bring that up.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's, about blood flow. It's about bringing energy and intention there. But do you want to speak to that more?
For sure.
It sounds kind of funny when people hear that.
Yeah. Well, scientifically, the penis and the testicles they grow through more like like tapping or like stimulation. Whereas like our muscles break down, like in order for our muscles to grow, we have to tear the fibers through an exercise so they rebuild. When it comes to the testicles and the penis, it's actually more of like a striking motion or like a tapping motion that starts to activate what's called the Leydig cells. And the Leydig cells are what create more testosterone, more growth hormone, so that they can grow or just be nourished, be healthier.
I love that.
So, yeah. And then it also, there's more of like an esoteric explanation as well, where if one can be comfortable while they're slapping their balls, it can ground the energy and be like, okay, I can handle more chaos from the world.
Yeah. Yeah, because it can be intense and it can become painful.
Yeah.
I've been doing that practice off and on.
And the tolerance can grow.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
It's almost similar to the way getting into a cold plunge or a sauna, there's stress on the system and you can learn to relax into that and stay with it longer. And so much value in that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's a practice called iron crotch qigong where these Asian guys, I've never seen a Western man do it, so I'll just say like more of an Eastern human being. They're like pulling trucks.
I've seen that online a little bit. That's crazy.
Or like just martial artists are getting kicked in the crotch over and over and over again. And so it's not necessary, but there's also like a middle ground where it's like, it doesn't need to be painful. Just find the edge and give some stimulation. Because a lot of guys rarely, the guys that I've worked with, they're like, wow, I've never really just had a daily practice of massaging my testicles or like feeling onto my testicles. I notice something is like maybe a little weird, and then I go to the doctor and they're checking my testicles and I'm like, oh, there's this thing on there now. But if we can just give ourselves that good daily habit of massaging the testicles, giving them some slight tapping, a lot of those things start to just go away because the energy is being moved throughout the body.
Yes. Yeah. And I think for a lot of men, like a lot of what you're sharing is so helpful in boosting testosterone in natural ways. So before you get on TRT therapy, maybe try some of these out, especially if you're developing a mindfulness practice, breath work, exercise. In my own life, and I want to get more testing done here because I realize that our testosterone levels can fluctuate and it depends on the time of the day and stuff.
Yeah.
But I did get tested, had my blood work done, and then a year later got it done again, the same time, same doctor, and my testosterone levels had more than doubled.
Wow.
And I attribute it completely to just, I'm not on any kind of TRT, not any kind of replacement hormones. It was lifestyle, and it was doing some of these practices, and it was, I think some things like zinc, vitamin D helped.
Totally.
But I think sleep is obviously huge. And then I think something that I'm doing that was maybe different than a lot of guys out there is I was doing what we're talking about, the Taoist practices. And
you were on a practice of semen retention too.
Right. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So
yeah,
being really intentional about when I ejaculate, being able to have sex without ejaculating.
Yeah.
Being able to actually as a practice, and I've gone through phases where I've done it more often or less, but a practice of self-pleasure without going over that edge of ejaculating.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, can be so powerful, so potent, and it feels so much life force energy. And I would bet money that's boosting testosterone. I'm not a scientist. I'm not doing like some huge study on it, but it just intuitively and subjectively makes so much sense. I can feel it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's really potent when I'll speak from my experience, when I can use it like as a pre-workout. Like, so there's been times where I'll have like a self-pleasure practice. I'll go for like 20 minutes, just hang out at 7 and 8 being like right before the, in terms of on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is ejaculation, 9 is about to ejaculate. So hanging out at 7 and 8, just like where there's this nice level of energy being built up. Do that for 20 minutes, hit a full body state of orgasm with a big draw, and then go into a workout, and I'm fucking jacked up, man.
Yeah, it's a huge boost. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this, because I think people could start incorporating this, and it's so healthy. It's so natural. You're not taking a drug or substance. It's using our own, it's like a inner alchemy of our own body, our own system.
Totally. And it's sacred.
Yes.
It's not to get off. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we talked about it last time, but the word masturbation is a Latin word that stems from the word manus tupare, which means to defile oneself with their hand. And so when we shift our perspective around it and go into like a solo cultivation, a self-pleasure practice, we can really be mindful and intentional of like, okay, I'm moving energy. I'm being present with this thing rather than needing to just fucking drain and release and get my mind off this shit and so I can go into the next thing. It's like, no, be present with the body. Learn presence, self-containment. Allow that to be this sacred ceremony with oneself, and then carry that over into every other aspect of our life. Because sex is the foundation of who we are. It's how we're born. Two things colliding together and it creates life.
Yes.
So we can create that within ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. The passion, the life force, the inspiration. I think we see it in artists and athletes and people that inspire us. There's that life force energy moving through them. And I would say, if someone's listening to this and wants to try it out, like set it up as an intentional practice.
Exactly.
Slow down, pay attention to your body, your heart, your emotions, and see what comes up. And if there's shame, guilt, if you feel weird, you could, just be with that, be with those parts of yourself, be with those feelings, because that's where the healing is. Because there's nothing, I don't think there's any, well, there could be some religions, right, that maybe say this is wrong or something. But in general, like most people listening to this, it's like, it's your body. You're doing an intentional practice. You're not causing harm to anyone, that's for sure. And you're exploring yourself. And I think we'd just be a happier, healthier world if more people would give themselves that permission and make some space and time for themselves.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think
another point maybe is don't look at porn. Can you do that without porn?
Totally. Yeah. Create that within yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like if we're speaking from a Christian lens, and they may say like, yeah, masturbation is a sin. It could be a sin. It could be missing the mark of what's the point. And that's where like the invitation is to like be in a practice. Like, call it like, that's why I say like, call it a self-pleasure practice. Call it solo cultivating, but like not just call it, do it, like be with that, because it's still a form of celibacy. And it's not wasting energy. It's not wasting life. So yeah, if there's like hang-uppery around it, you don't even need to like even touch the genitals for self-pleasure. You can literally just like massage oneself.
Yeah.
That could be a form of self-pleasure. Can you be with the slowness, like feeling the body and allowing oneself to be present with these little micro movements?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it can be challenging and out of the ordinary. But my understanding is when masturbation is called a sin, and I appreciate you saying that's like translates as missing the mark. It's actually also in Buddhism, but the kind of what we're speaking to, the quote unquote sin part is the ejaculation, the losing the life force energy. Yeah. And I think if you can do it in the way we're describing, that's not true for it. So
totally. And there's ways to have sacred ejaculations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like we can couple it with intentions. We can have a ceremony around when we choose to do it and allow that to be maybe there is shame, maybe there is guilt, and one person wants to like release the shame and guilt that they feel. Well, we are releasing something through our body, so we can allow that to be present and be this experience of letting go. Or maybe there's something we want to create in our life.
The manifestation, creation.
What can we couple that with? What can we bring that up? Be in that meditative space where it's like, okay. And it can be a lot of moving parts. So I'll like often give my clients like an anchor point, which is maybe one word or one little symbol that they can see that encapsulates this vision that they want to create. And allow oneself to feel that through the ejaculation. Like couple that sensation with the ejaculation so that things can start to create.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, there's actually a really awesome book out there for anyone interested called The Art of Sexual Magic that talks about that.
Nice.
And using our, has practices for sexuality basically as a manifestation practice, like you were just speaking to. And then I was reading a book, because I'm kind of a dork, I have all these books on this kind of stuff, but it was a Taoist book on sacred sexuality. And he was saying one reason to ejaculate is with your partner when you're really wanting to create a relationship, and that it can help deepen your bonds and your connection. And I think that's beautiful, and I think that's an amazing intention. And so that felt really good for me to like bring that into my practice, and appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think that connects with some of the teachings around sacred sexuality to not ejaculate too often. I think especially if you are in a place where you're having multiple partners, that would spreading your energy out. And I think that is where there's more danger, more risk, obviously STDs, but just on a more spiritual, energetic level of you're spreading your energy out so much. And then if you're not seeing them again, you're not getting it back. And I think that's where it can be kind of lost, so to speak, versus cultivated in a connected relationship where you're sharing that energy and circulating it with your partner. Then I think it's maybe not being lost in the same way. Yeah,
totally. I mean, from this lens of the two primary characteristics of sexual energy, to bind and amplify, if we are ejaculating, there's going to be a bond, like with a partner, there's going to be a bond created. And if we're not tending to that garden, that bond can feel like it's being neglected. And furthermore, it can amplify the energies of those two people. Like we can connect with the shadows or the traumas of that individual, because it's combining, it's connecting two human beings together. And so we have to be really mindful. I believe we have to be really mindful around who we're sharing our seed with,
Yeah.
when we're sharing our seed, how often, and like how we are tending to the gardens of those relationships. And it's tricky. It's really hard because we're human and we have primalistic desires. And
yeah.
But I think mindfulness is a big start of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not about being perfect. That's something I say all the time now.
Yeah.
And it's not about beating ourselves up. That's for sure. And it can be about understanding where we're coming from. Like there's a certain part, different parts of us that will want different things at different times. And without making that into a bad thing, like getting curious and being able to connect, and then we can become more integrated and have more conscious choice. So I think this is such a deep subject. I like the metaphor of the garden because it's literally a seed. Like it's like it's more than just a metaphor. There's like there's a real reality there.
Yeah, man. It's a rich topic.
Yeah. Well, I wonder. I'm going to bring in some things. I just was doing some research around kind of masculinity and the state of men in the world, and there's just some amazing statistics I wanted to share. One of them that I think a lot of people have heard is that in the United States, the suicide rate for men in 2023 was 4 times higher than women.
Wow.
So a man is 4 times more likely to take their life than a woman. Now that's referring to suicides that are successful. I don't know if successful is the right word, but where the life is actually lost versus an attempt. Yeah. But still, and then drug overdose deaths for men, 142% higher than for women. Men are 78% more likely to be the victim of a homicide. And there's another thing happening in our society around loneliness and lack of support.
Yeah.
And men and women obviously can feel lonely, but men are much less likely to lean on a social network than women. And that's a huge thing. So
yeah, I think what comes up for me in hearing those statistics is the fact why there's so much suicide rate, why it's so much higher in men, is because of that loneliness, because of that lack of connection, that lack of like emotional intimacy to share the challenging things in our life with other men.
Absolutely.
Or maybe we often will just like give it to our female partner who doesn't quite understand or doesn't have the capacity to hold that for us.
Yeah. That's a big trap where we put all our eggs in one basket, or we make our partner into our sole emotional support, or only person we're really intimate with, really open up to. And I see men doing that way more than women, just in terms of my work and people I know in the world. And that's a trap, We need to have good friends. We need to have connections and family and people we can talk to outside of our primary partnership, because it can really damage the relationship, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I hear from my clients, from people all the time, not even just my clients, like, wow, I've never told anybody that before. And to me, us men have a more natural orientation to, like we talked about at the beginning, repress and hold things in.
Yeah.
And when we're holding these things in and they don't have anywhere to go, it can start to cause delusion and disillusion and allow us to really question why we're here. What's our purpose?
Yeah, it can feel meaningless. And it's such a deep topic. Another amazing statistic is there was this like big survey done. 64% of men under the age of 30 describe themselves as single. 34% of women under the age of 30 describe themselves as single. So 64% versus 34%. And that's like an amazing statistic. And I think there's a number of things going on there. But part of it may be, it could be that, younger women are dating older men. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
It could be that some women think they're in a relationship and say they are, but then and a man who's like sleeping with them says he's single.
Yeah.
That could be happening. And I think another thing that could be happening is, how many women out there are with a man who has multiple partners?
Yeah.
And is that becoming more common? And my sense is that it is, and it's not talked about a lot. But I think our society, we've kind of always been this way, evolutionarily speaking. Resources get concentrated in a smaller group of people. We all know about that, like the wealth concentration. And I'm kind of concerned that in the past, our society, marriage was the dominant thing. One man, one woman, have children. And now we're more and more in a world where there could be a man who's very rich or famous or is traveling around. He could have multiple partners, multiple girlfriends, and have the resources to support that lifestyle versus like the 9 out of 10 other men who can't. And I think that might be part of what's happening. And I think all these things we're talking about are all related, you know? So I just kind of wanted to bring that into the picture.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
It is interesting to think about. Yeah, all those things sound super valid, and the theories of why that statistic may be so disproportionate. Yeah, well, something that's coming up for me is like specifically around men with multiple partners, or like having the resources to be with multiple partners, or like claiming that they're single, yet there's still like engaging in in sexual relations.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's like been brought to my attention is this like outsource for the feminine energy.
Say it again, outsource?
Yeah, the outregulation or the outsourcing of that feminine energy. And we're not taught, right? We're not taught how to like, again, be with our emotions. We're not taught to like, many men aren't really celebrated for writing poetry or for singing or for going deeper into ourself. And so what I realized I was doing in my previous relationships was relying on the feminine to do that for me. And leaning into that.
I get what you're saying. So the men are outsourcing that energy and getting it from their relationship or from women outside themselves.
Yeah.
And they're not bringing that. And I think there's wisdom in that.
And wanting to like still claim singularity so that they can have multiple outsourcings of this feminine energy.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I think maybe another piece of the picture to name is more and more women doing things like OnlyFans, online content. And I think that's literally what you're describing, outsourcing feminine energy and kind of getting money for doing that. And like what effect is that having on people's ability to be in intimate relationships? I don't know. It's like a huge social experiment that we're in right now.
Totally. And I would also say men have they're going to be much more men. There's much more commonality in men to watch porn and to subscribe to the OnlyFans women or men, whoever they are, whatever they're interested in.
Yeah.
And that can cause, especially for men under 30 years old, that can cause them to not feel like they need to be in a relationship, or confusion around being in a relationship because they're getting certain needs met through that outsourcing of this pornography or this erotic imagery. Yeah.
Or even if you can exchange an occasional text message or whatever, it's not a real relationship, obviously. And I think there's just an energetic cost to it.
Yeah.
So if you're a single man and you want to have a girlfriend or a partner or get married, but you're doing all that kind of stuff, you're losing energy. I mean, money, time, attention, like there's a cost to it, you know?
And I think we humans can feel it, especially women who are highly sensitive and intuitive. They can feel when a man is outsourcing their energy through pornography or through these different apps and platforms. Yeah. And it becomes a turnoff. Yes. And there's this lack of intimacy created because there's so much space in between. We can feel when there's this disconnect. And so, I talked with guys all the time. They're like, I got off porn and all of a sudden women started coming into my life. Interesting. Or like, wow, I'm this handsome guy. Why can't I get a woman? And I'm like, well, are you watching porn? They're like, well, yeah. I'm like, people can feel that. And then they get off porn and all of a sudden there's more deeper connection being happened. Yeah. Yeah. We don't need to make it evil or the most terrible thing, but just to look at causes and effects. Yeah. Right. And it's like, in the way your relation to it and what it's doing for you and what needs it's meeting and something to get curious about. And I think we just, we need to challenge
generally speaking, like men need to do the work to develop intimacy. Intimacy is a good thing. It doesn't just automatically happen. And it takes skills that you need to learn. You need to learn how to first be intimate with yourself. You need to learn how to feel. You need to learn how to put those feelings into words. You need to learn how to attune to yourself and other people, be sensitive to what they're feeling and be curious. And then you have to be vulnerable and you have to show yourself and be seen and be witnessed and do that for your partner. And those are just skills that a lot of men don't learn. And I think women, I think there is biological, there's obviously biology here. And I do believe women biologically have evolved to be more emotionally intelligent. And there's a lot of research supporting that. So if you just look at general population, same household, same upbringing, women score much higher on emotional intelligence than men. So men need to do a little bit more work there, a little bit more effort there. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We're not really taught how to do this stuff.
Right.
And there's more of a surge of education around this and more opportunities for men to come into deeper contact with themselves. I mean, I really have been enjoying like inner child work and parts work to come deeper into contact with my clients and with myself. And, but yeah, again, like we want to be builders as men. We want to like create the thing outside of us. And it's important for us to do that. And we have very valuable skills and physical capabilities in doing that. And just value, it's just equally as important to like start to build onto our inner worlds as well.
Yeah. A little bit can go a long way.
Yeah.
It's not like that big of an ask.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone listening to this, I mean, you're already people in your life you talk to. So in those interactions, you can just start seeing if you could take a little bit more risk or be a little bit more vulnerable or be a little bit more real, a little bit more authentic.
Yeah.
And then that starts shifting the momentum of your life, maybe in profound ways.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or find a men's group to join where there's already like conversations like this happening.
Yeah.
And there are people that you'll be able to meet that are already opening up vulnerably and emotionally. And it's a sacred container where it's confidential and, things aren't going to be just spilled out into the world. So yeah, there's so many opportunities now for us, but we also have to go looking for them. And I often know that once we start looking or even putting that beacon out there, we start to find it and they start to come to us too.
There you go. Yeah. You start attracting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're interested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to really reflect on all this and to honor the biology and the categories of men versus women. I mean, it's like one of the most fundamental categories human beings have been making for millennia. Every language, every religious tradition, masculine, feminine, male, female. Obviously, we need a man and woman to procreate, to carry on the species. And I think part of what happened culturally with the transgender movement, like I support people in their right to express however they want, and there can be different expressions of that. But there's like a fundamental fear that I think a lot of people feel where we can't just throw these fundamental categories out the window. We can't just make things up from whole cloth. Like we're working with biology and culture and history, and it's a big subject, but I just think there's a way in which we can, I hope, move forward as a society where we can have diversity and honor people and also honor these like biological realities and the truth that we're in and the differences there. And they're on a spectrum. It's not like telling you exactly who you are specifically, but it's speaking to like these energies in us. And I think we need to honor that. Like there's a risk in imagining that or thinking that everything is completely relative and that that things can just be whatever we say they are. That's not how the world works. And I think our society reached a tipping point, and for better or worse, like in 2024 with the re-election of the Trump administration, the majority of people in this country rejected that kind of extreme postmodern view that things can be just whatever we say they are. I think that was a big issue. I think that a lot of people don't, people talk all kinds of things about politics, but I think that like on a deep fundamental level, that was a big part of why Trump won. And we're kind of resetting that conversation now. And it doesn't mean that people who identify as trans or asexual or as both or whatever can't be honored and should have a place in our society. That's really important. But it does mean that we can't all of a sudden have 12 different genders being taught to our kids in school tomorrow. Like that doesn't, it's too big of a leap, and it's actually dangerous. And it's just going to create so much confusion and chaos.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Confusion and chaos. And I think the confusion and chaos is a recipe for more disaster and more chaos and more stress. And arguably even diminishing our own internal intuition and power that we all have to say that, you can be whatever you want. And you can, if you can be whatever you want, then it like takes away maybe the internal guidance of what's within us. What am I trying to say? It can be, many people aren't taught how to actually work with the many different selves that they have.
Yeah.
And so what often comes through is the unconscious behavior of these cells, these different selves, these different parts of us that just want to be seen, loved, and heard. And when we start to actually see them, love them, hear them, and understand what they're trying to give to us or protect us from, we can actually say like, hey, thank you for your service. I know deeper down inside there's something more central within me that I can work from. And we see it with whether that's rape or pedophilia or murders, people who have committed murders. Like it's often not their true self that's operating from that place.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a part of them that needed to protect themselves, whether that was from this current lifetime or from generations in the past. And I think there is this push to just accept everything, like accept everybody's way of being without questioning it. And I think it's really important for us to question what's actually happening. And
absolutely,
we need discernment. We need discernment in our lives, and we need to be like, hey, are you sure that this is your true self that you're operating from? Because at the end of the day, what I've seen in a lot of my clients and myself and the people that I've worked with is we all really are operating from a place of needing to survive. Yeah. So we fit in. We're looking for a place to fit in.
Yep.
And
that's huge. Yeah.
If we didn't fit in the past, we're basically exiled from our community. And we are very privileged and grateful to have so many different bubbles of communities these days. But it can be like that topic of veganism versus carnivore. Once we start to identify with this is who I am, it starts to shut us off from everything else. And we do it to fit in. We do it to find our place. The question is that really who you are? Are you a vegan? Is that your whole identity? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You're that unique, beautiful human being.
Yeah, you're something much more than that. Much more than that. Yeah, and if your survival depended on it, you'd eat the bacon, right? Like, and that's good. It's good that you do that. I hope that you would do that. Yeah, you said something interesting, like, because we do get this message growing up, you can be whatever you want to be. And that's just not true. And like, I can't be a giraffe if I want,
Yeah.
And it's like, we can't just be whatever you want to be. And it's good to question why you want what you think you want and get in touch with the true self you're talking about and see what your true self really, what your soul is really longing for and calling in. And it's probably going to be something different than all the social conditioning, all the advertising, right? It's going to be something deeper than that. It's going to be something that's in alignment and has integrity.
Yeah. And we have really powerful creator capacities too.
Yes.
Like we can be professional athletes if we start out young and train for it up until these times, or we can be successful business people if we apply and, get creative with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can manifest things into our life.
Yeah.
And we also, there's a level of reality that we're working with too.
Yes. Yeah, it makes you think about, that's well said. For sure we can have dreams and go after them. And it's good to try, and I think that the path and the effort is like more valuable than the outcomes even. And a lot of successful people talk about that. The path is the goal. And it's better to try and fail than not try at all. And it's good to have dreams and go after them. It makes me think about, in Buddhism, there's this fundamental teaching around ultimate and relative truth. And the ultimate truth is, connected with our true nature. It's kind of the being, the ground of being of everything. And you could use words like emptiness, or our true nature, or fullness instead of emptiness, like the fullness of our awareness and our heart mind. But the relative truth is based on causes and conditions. It's based on cause and result. It's like when you boil water to a certain temperature, if you heat water to a certain temperature, it starts to boil and it turns into steam. And there's nothing I can do to pretend that that's not happening. And that relative truth is the ultimate truth. We find the ultimate truth in and through the body, in and through the relative reality, in and through our biology. It's not some separate thing. And so it's just an important distinction to be made between relative reality that we all experience and our imagination. And imagination is beautiful, it can be fun, and it has its own kind of reality. And sometimes we can envision things and imagine things and create them. But then in that act of creation, we're interacting with the relative reality. So just imagination isn't the same as relative reality. It's just like a big fundamental teaching in Buddhism that I think has gotten lost with some of the stuff in our culture, where we think we can just kind of make things however we want them to be. Things could be however we say they are. It just doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
No. Yeah, and I think that's where, we can create our own disillusion. Like it's so easy to create disillusion in our life when we aren't really sharing these deeper parts of ourselves, or we're not connected to.
What do you mean by dissolution?
Like if we're suppressing emotions, if we're suppressing energy within ourselves, we start to look through a lens that isn't clean. And maybe the lens is covering up 90% of this viewpoint, so we only see this microcosm of like what's really happening and not able to see the full picture. And so we focus in on just this one minutia, but in reality there's like so many different things that are happening that we're not able to see.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
have
maybe
that humility, right, to recognize all that we don't see.
Yeah. So and for myself, when I've hid and avoided myself, I thought I was speaking truth. I thought I knew what the truth was, but I didn't, because I didn't have access to. I was hiding. I was like neglecting myself out of fear, and that created disillusion in my own reality. It's like, oh, I think I'm convicted in this decision, but in reality, I was just suppressing emotions so that I wouldn't get hurt.
Right.
And when I came into deeper contact with that, it was, oh, wow, I was actually operating out of this behavior, this habitual pattern that I learned when I was 7 years old, who was afraid of being abandoned. And when I met that, I was like, oh, actually, I can see a bigger picture now.
That's so important. So some of the things we are wanting and desiring can become from these wounded parts of ourselves. And until we attend to those wounded parts, like no amount of the external will really fill that wound. Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for us to get to know our whole self.
Yeah.
Right? Like not even just like the internal self, but our genitals.
Yeah.
Like really getting to know every single inch of ourselves. And that's my big focus. Is it's not just, let's just focus on our genitals and alchemize sexual
as much fun
energy.
as that would be.
Yeah. It's like, it's great. And that's one practice. That's one part of it. But it's like, how can I turn this whole body into an antenna of wisdom?
Yes.
An antenna of orgasm.
Yes. Yeah.
Because like, can I feel the orgasm in my left pinky toe? Can I feel it in my right ear? Instead of just in one specific part of my body. And that creates this like greater depth. And as we have greater depth internally on our body, in our body, then we can hold a greater capacity for maybe our loved ones or for the relationship that we're in or the community that we're in. And we can hold greater compassion. We can hold greater understanding.
Yeah.
And allow emotions to be emotions
Mm-hmm.
and not take things personally.
Yeah.
And not needing to defend ourselves, but like stand in the truth of what is actually happening in our own system.
Yes. Yeah. I really appreciate you calling us to do the deeper work here. And the good news is you can use kind of lesser desires, so to speak, to motivate you to do that deeper work. For example, I want to have really amazing sex with my partner. And the path to get there is going to help increase my health and vitality, and I'm going to be eating better and sleeping better. And so that's awesome. So that motivation could help in all these other ways. And then there could be open up deeper emotional, spiritual levels too. And
exactly.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to have you back on the podcast. You're bringing consciousness awareness to sexuality, male sexuality. It's something that's taboo, like we talked about, not talked about a lot. I really appreciate the quote by Carl Jung, who said, like, enlightenment doesn't come from imagining figures of light, but by making the unconscious conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really believe if we can take all these parts of ourselves, like you're speaking to, all the different aspects of our being, and make them conscious and have a conscious relationship with them, then we can heal ourselves and the whole world. And there's an example for me of this past weekend, where I went to this big party, and it was kind of like a Burning Man style event. And there was like a ceremony, and then there's artists and DJs and dance. And there was like this big, like 10-person hot tub in the backyard. So it's like this kind of mansion party. And I was talking to a friend there, and he was like, look at this beautiful party and how amazing that consent is the foundation of this. So at the very beginning of the whole event, there was a talk on consent, and everyone agreeing to operate on consent. Do what feels good to you, say no what doesn't feel good to you, and like, let's create a beautiful experience together. And I think this idea of consent is so powerful. And the other thing that he said that I thought was funny, he's like, there's all this Jeffrey Epstein stuff in the news.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's these photos now of these super famous, wealthy billionaire guys. Like, there's a photo now of Bill Clinton in the hot tub with some woman with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, so everyone's like looking at that and talking about it. And he's like, this party is like taking that same force and energy and similar experience, but we're coming from consent.
Mm-hmm.
And how healing that is for people here, but also how healing it is for the collective.
Mm.
Like, there's nothing wrong with hanging out in a hot tub with beautiful, sexy people. The issue is it consensual or not? Is it integrity or not? Is there force or manipulation, right? That's the issue. And so we could reclaim these pieces. The answer forward is not to repress or deny our sexuality or shame people, but to actually make it conscious. It's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Thanks. I've been thinking about that all weekend. I've just been like,
amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Consent. It's key.
Yeah.
And it's not even just like, does that person have consent for me? But it's like, do I have consent in myself to say yes? Or do I have consent in myself to connect with something that maybe I'm afraid of? Like, just because I'm a little apprehensive about something doesn't mean that that's not consensual.
That's right. Yeah. You can be curious about it.
We can be curious about it. And so it's like bringing consciousness to like, what is there for us? But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I love that point of, yeah, it's not about repressing. It's not about shoving these things down and not having parties where there's sexy people and there's playful sexual energy, but can we really be conscientious?
Yeah.
And create a collective field of, hey, we're in agreement here of like where this is going.
Yeah.
And we're all taking radical responsibility for ourselves.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. It feels really good to speak to it. I do have fear that our society could flip back into a much more repressive society. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's just worth speaking to it and like there's other ways we can go forward, way better ways. We've done the repression thing for hundreds or thousands of years, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's just not, yeah. I mean, the Catholic Church and the medieval times and just all that history. It's just like, there's got to be a better way than that. So, yeah.
Well, I think by having these conversations and shedding more light upon these topics, we can spread the awareness.
Yeah.
And, we are in a very, we're in the Boulder bubble where a lot
That's
of these
right,
things
yeah.
are definitely going on. And I know for myself, sometimes I'm like, whoa, is this happening in other parts of the world? Probably not as much, but there is a ripple effect energetically that happens. And I think we can just continue to spread awareness.
Yeah,
on
there's a
what's
ripple
possible.
effect. There's a responsibility with that too. Like actually do it in the right way. And I think that idea of consent is so big, and it does take like you were saying, it takes inner work to like, that's just a deep dive. Like that's just a continual practice of what you really want and what's true for you, and then being sensitive to other people. And I love that word, consent.
Yeah.
we just need that. We need more of that word.
Yeah.
But I think,
it establishes boundaries. And
having boundaries
and respect. And a lot of people have been taken advantage of, whether it's in this lifetime or previous lifetimes.
Right.
And so by bringing in consent, we are reclaiming like, what is our boundary, and what we stand for. And I think it's also healing the generations and generations prior to us that maybe weren't able to stand up for themselves.
I think so. I really do. Yeah. I think those generations are alive when that is now. And one day we'll be that ancestor, but we can do our part to clear the water, leave the world better than we found it. And, we got to have this optimistic outlook, that's possible, and that we can do our part, and that it makes a difference and it matters. I think that's so important.
Yeah. I think, we're speaking a lot about consciousness right now. And Dr. David Hawkins talks about the scale of consciousness. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah.
Like 0 to 1,000, and these different energies that we can access, that we're operating in, these different emotional fields. He says that most of the world is operating below 200, which is in the
pretty
realms.
low.
It's in the realms of like fear and shame and guilt. And when a person rises above 200, it automatically starts to create this up level or this rising consciousness in the world in their own field. And so like when someone comes into their field, they start to get a little boost in consciousness. And so as you do this work, as I do this work, as we work with people who are creating or clearing the waters per se, tending to our gardens, it will have an effect. It will start to rise the consciousness, whether we are having they are having a direct relationship with that person or not. Even just like coming into the field, there's like, whoa, there's an energy here. I feel a different type of energy around this. And that might flip a switch to be like, I want to know who this person is, or I want to like understand more about this thing, or maybe like I want to start to attain that for myself. And it's part of that ripple effect. And so we all have our own personal responsibility to get deeper within ourselves, so that I think as a collective humanity, we can also grow in this realm of consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it is the hero's journey, and it can be hard at times, but it's also very natural and human. And it's not about being perfect. It's not that hard, Yeah. Like anyone can start doing it, and sometimes doing something small can be something huge. Maybe like taking a few moments every day to check in with yourself, feel your body, ask yourself what's really true. What do I really need and want? That could take a minute, 2 minutes. That could change your whole life. Like just that. Because the wisdom is within you, right? It's going to come out from us. And
we have so much wisdom, and the body's constantly speaking to us.
Yeah.
We just need to tune into it and listen to it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I've been trying to work with myself when I notice fear in some form, shame, guilt, embarrassment, whatever it is, or anger. I'm trying to train myself to get excited about that. Like, oh, there's something I can work with. Yeah. Instead of like, oh, I wish that wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference. And I don't always do that. It's not always easy, but that's like just kind of flipping that script. Like, oh, there's something to work with. Like, cool. Like, what's going on here?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And that's, as we build the relationship within ourselves, we start to honor the relationships around us. Right, Sailor?
Including the dog.
She's taking a nap. She's dreaming.
Oh, sweetie.
Yeah, I love that. I love that like perspective that or that reframe that you're having for yourself to like, oh, I'm gonna get curious about this. Like,
yeah,
noticing some shame or some embarrassment. Like, where does that come from? Where does that come from? And the simple question of like, okay, I notice it. You're a part of me. What do you want to share? Like, what wants to be named from this space?
Yeah.
Where does it come from? Like, if we get quiet, we can really start to listen.
Yes.
Yeah. But it just takes a little bit of time.
It takes some time. Yeah. Some attention, some care.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This was a great conversation. Really appreciate you coming back. I'll link to your links in the show notes.
Awesome, man.
Anything you want to share with people in closing?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me on, man. I always love conversations around this, and it's good to be back with you. Depending upon when this releases, I'm going to be doing a 3-day online workshop. So it'll be like 90 minutes each day around the topic of like the shadow and sexual transmutation.
Oh, amazing.
So, yeah, it's pretty entry level, and accessible for anybody. So that'll be January 20. Let me just double check real quick. Exact dates. January 20th through the 22nd.
Sweet. Is that online? Is it in person?
Yeah, it'll be online.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, if people have any questions, they're more than welcome to reach out to me directly. Whether that's via email, jpkexperience@gmail.com, or any of the social media platforms.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah.